AVC. This is Michael. Jazz Vinyl Tag 2021. Questions put forth by Chris, tunes from the Man Cave, and I'm just gonna get right into it. The album that got you into jazz. It's actually albums, because they were all cassettes that I purchased at the same time. So the first one would be Wynton Marsalis, Think of One, Thelonious Monk, Brilliant Corners, and Modern Jazz Quartet, Echoes. And I just went into a record. Store, and basically I picked these out on what little I knew about the musicians. I knew of Thelonious Monk because of his son, T.S. Monk, who had an R&B hit in the early '80s. That's how I became knowing about Thelonious Monk. The Modern Jazz Quartet, I had heard mostly before I purchased this recording, dismissive comments about them, like they were just for the blue hair set. And Wynton Marsalis, I'd heard seen on the news, read some articles, basically talking about this young musician from New Orleans that was playing straight edge jazz. So those three were purchased at the same time on cassette. So the next question is the first jazz album you bought, and I'm interpreting that meaning vinyl. It's actually the first two. Again, these were bought at the same place. At the same time, basically. The new Miles Davis quintet, John Coltrane, Red Garland, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones, and Wynton Marsalis's Black Codes from the Underground. What a great cover. That is his younger brother, Jason Marsalis. And the Miles Davis just had outstanding compositions. I have continually played this throughout the years. I always return to it. It's one of my favorite Miles recordings. Just Squeeze Me, How Am I to Know, Stablemates, There Is No Greater Love. And record you own on Blue Note. We're gonna go outside the classic period. I'm gonna go to 1986, and this is the flautist James Newton, and it's Romance and Revolution. James Newton is an excellent flute player. He led me to reappraise that instrument and its place in jazz. He cites Charles Mingus and Eric Dolphy as his main inspirations, and the first tune on here is Forever Charles, and the second is Meditations on Integration. So there's your Mingus and Dolphy homage, and there's an excellent version of Ornette Coleman's piece. So James Newton, Romance and Revolution, Blue Note, 1986. Record you own on Prestige. My first John Coltrane purchase, Soul Train. And it's Red Garland, Paul Chambers, Arthur Taylor, Good Bait. That just had me hooked from the beginning. his version of I Want to Talk About You. Coltrane just owns that song. And on side 2, the second song, theme for Ernie, Beautiful Lament for Ernie Henry, record on Prestige, Soul Train. A record on Impulse, Out of the Afternoon, Roy Haynes with Tommy Flanagan, Rashawn Roland Kirk, and Henry Grimes on bass. Excellent recording. I love the version of a tune that I was not familiar with, an Artie Shaw tune called Moon Ray. Just outstanding effort by Roy Haynes as a leader. Record you own in Riverside, The Hawk Flies High, Coleman Hawkins, J.J. Johnson, Idris Suleiman, Hank Jones, Barry Galbraith, Oscar Pettiford, Joe Jones. Yeah, just Hawkins and J.J. Johnson for me really stand out, but the other musicians are just fabulous on this. And Joe Jones, even though you know, it's not sort of hard to hear him if you start to listen really closely, his playing, his accents are just outstanding. This is a beautiful LP. This is the Vinyl Me Please edition. I do still have my OJC, The Hawk Flies High. A record you own on Contemporary. Again, I'm going to go outside of that classic period of contemporary. I'm going to go basically towards the end of the contemporary label, and I believe they stopped issuing vinyl around 1991. This is Frank Morgan with the McCoy Tyner Trio, Major Changes. Frank Morgan did some excellent recordings for contemporary. I think he did about 8, and they're all outstanding. And this one here, you know, standards such as How Deep Is the Ocean, Emily, McCoy Tyner tunes, Search for Peace, and Frank Morgan had 2 tunes that he kept in his repertoire, and one of them was All the Things You Are. Whenever he played it, it was just beautiful. And the next one is a classic example of a jazz musician elevating what's basically sort of, you know, weak material, and that's a theme from Love Story. Frank Morgan found something in that song that spoke to him, and he continually played it throughout his career, and just beautiful. Every recording that he that this song is on by Frank Morgan is just excellent. And so that is the contemporary record that I own, and it is from 1987. Small jazz label. We're gonna go with Xanadu. Here's one of the releases, Charles McPherson, Beautiful, with Duke Jordan, Sam Jones, and Leroy Williams. Just, you know, even the song choices are excellent here. Just the standard book. They say it's wonderful but beautiful. It could have happened to you. Lover, this can't be love. Body and soul, it had to be you. The recordings he did for Xanadu rank among the best in McPherson's discography. We're gonna stick with Xanadu with a record you own, not many know about but should. This is Billy Mitchell, the Colossus of Detroit. Barry Harris, who basically seems to be the house pianist for Xanadu. Sam Jones, Walter Bowden on drums. You know, it starts off with a beautiful rendition of Recording Me, and he also does excellent versions of Should I Care. On side B, he does Nat Cole's Unforgettable, and this was recorded back in 1978, before that song was revived by Natalie Cole. So, you know, Billy Mitchell, you know, had excellent taste, and, you know, just basically went out, rescued a song that wasn't being played much at the time. The Colossus of Detroit, Billy Mitchell on tenor. Favorite jazz record bought in 2020, Joshua Redman, Still Dreaming. This came out in 2017, but I purchased it in 2020, and it's a tribute to his father and the Old and New Dreams quartet, with Charlie Hayden, Don Cherry, Ed Blackwell, and Joshua Redman didn't really he didn't do a tribute after his father passed, and he said that what really spurred him on to do the tribute was Charlie Hayden's passing. And I just want to read something he said about this. Charlie brought out the love in my father's playing, a warmth, a tenderness, and honesty that few others brought out to the same degree. In a strange way, Charlie helped me love my father. Joshua Redman, Still Dreaming. And a favorite record in a jazz artist discography, and I'm gonna go with Joe Henderson, State of the Tenor, Volume 1 and 2 at the Village Vanguard. And this is a favorite of mine because, and this is where you can really hear Henderson's style of playing, and at this point in his career, it's been refined. You can really get the essence of his playing because there's no piano, no other horns, just Joe, Ron Carter, Al Foster, and listening to this made going back and hearing the classic Henderson recordings from Blue Note and the Milestone recordings much more rewarding for me. And here is a record you bought in a brick and mortar shop. I purchased this recently in Stranded Records. It's original stereo black label contemporary of Hampton Hawes 4. This is just a beautifully recorded record, and to hear the original as opposed to the OJC version, gave me revived my interest in this excellent recording by Hampton Hawes. The recording was done by legendary recording engineer Roy Dunan. Just excellent. I got this for $20, and it was a near mint copy, excellent condition, no noise whatsoever. So favorite brick and mortar purchase. Record you bought online, Henry Threadgill's In for a Penny, In for a Pound. Had this on CD, and then I was on Bandcamp, and they put it out that there were Pie Recordings, his label. They had limited edition, I believe maybe it was 500, and I jumped at it. Love Threadgill's work. He is one of the great American composers in my opinion, and this is the recording for what it may be worth to some people. He won the Pulitzer Prize, so I believe he may have been the second jazz musician to win the Pulitzer Prize, but just an excellent recording. Henry Threadgill, In for a Penny, In for a Pound. A record a friend bought for you or gifted you. This was a gift from my sister-in-law and her husband, and this is Leaping and Loping, Sonny Clark, outstanding Sonny Clark recording. In my video where I talk about jazz books, I did a feature on the Blue Note book by Richard Cook, and in that Richard Cook says that this is between this and Cool Strutting, that this is the better recording. And most of my friends and some acquaintances, they hold the opposite position, but both outstanding recordings by Sonny Clark. And a jazz box set, Mosaic, Blue Note, but this is New Orleans jazz. George Lewis clarinetist. I love New Orleans jazz, and this is just an excellent box set, and it's 5 LPs, an excellent booklet that's included. This is one of those box sets issued by Mosaic that probably most people don't really remember or know about, but this is some outstanding music, well worth checking out. Some George Lewis or some New Orleans jazz. A 10-inch. This is Charles Lloyd live at Slugs. This was issued, I believe, it says it right there, on a record store day a few years ago. I got it, I believe, last year. It was just sitting in the bin at a record store, and picked it up, and I guess it was, they only did 2,000 copies, because this one is $9.89 of 2,000. So I think I may have paid $10 for this. Go figure. And a jazz record you hope to find in 2021. And this, the next two questions sort of go together for me. Jazz record you hope to find in 2021, and a jazz record you own and you would like to upgrade. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with this because I only have the CD version. Jackie McLean's Bluesnik. Actually, this CD, it sounds really excellent. I just would like to have the vinyl version of this. And this CD was actually produced by Joe Harley, and it has all the features of the Joe Harley production, Music Matters with the photograph, the Blue Note photographs and such. But yeah, I would like to upgrade. I'd like to find a copy and upgrade for in 2021 of Jackie McLean's Bluesnik. Most recent jazz score. Yeah. This right here, which is on Astral Spirits Records. It's a group that's called Ahmed, yes, and that is Abdul Ahmed Malik on the cover. And this was just recently released in March, and just an excellent recording. And basically, there's sort of a concept behind this recording, and that the West African Islamic roots of jazz are not much acknowledged, and this is just beautiful. Ahmed, Nights on Saturn Communication, and it's recorded live in London. And the pianist on here, Pat Thomas, wrote the liner notes, which are the best liner notes that I've read in a long time. But the music is just outstanding. It's really just one song, Nights on Saturn, and it goes from side one and side B. But this is just, this is going to be one of my favorites of 2021. I guess it qualifies as free, but just outstanding. The musicians are in tune with each other, and just excellent. So Nights on Saturn by Ahmed is the group, and it's on Astral Spirits Records. I think it's maybe about $20. A free jazz record. I'm gonna go with this solo recording by Myra Melford, Life Carries Me This Way. And this was sort of a tribute, it was a tribute for an artist, friend of hers, Don Reich, who passed away in 2010. The idea to do this recording came about before he passed away, but this is beautiful solo playing by Myra Melford, and it had the cover. The liners have Don Reich's paintings on it. And this is one of those albums that that people who are like apprehensive about free jazz or avant-garde jazz, you could play this for them, and it would help them overcome their apprehensions. Just the first song on side A, Part Mechanics, is just beautiful, and on side C, The Attic. I've always been a fan of Myra Melford's ever since the Hat Art days, when the recordings she had on that label. So Life Carries Me This Way, Myra Melford solo piano, and it's from 2013. But no, it was recorded in 2013, but issued in 2017 on Firehouse 12 Records. And lastly, a Desert Island Jazz album. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this one. Saxophone Colossus. Sonny Rollins. So that's it for me. Jazz Vinyl Tag 2021. Thanks, Chris, Tunes from the Man Cave, for starting this. Take care, VC.